Xcube Games. We work with a lot of the largest consumer, or I would say animation, entertainment, and media companies, and so on. At Xcube Data, we have our own proprietary platforms for big data. We have context awareness platforms and also mobile consumer engagement platforms. So we started in 2008. As a team of 5 people, we were earlier working on building solutions for the VoIP industry and built very large-scale systems that can handle more than 1 billion transactions on a yearly basis. And the founders of Xcube started to work on the iOS SDK as soon as it was released. And we were building our own products or apps. And during the course of time, we were receiving a lot of requests to build apps, and that's how our focus shifted to the services side of things. And in these past 5 years, we've grown from a team of 5 people to more than 350 developers, and more than 700 apps. When we started, we had about 5 to 10 different applications. So we work with a lot of industries, and our applications range from very simple recipe applications to very large-scale enterprise-grade implementations. We have our offices based at Dallas, which is our design strategy headquarters, and the development and operations happens from our office based in India. We also have sales offices at New York and San Francisco. So one of the core focus areas for Xcube has been user experience and user interface design, and being able to build applications with that core focus, whether it's an enterprise application or a consumer-focusing app. So that has also helped us win various design awards, creative awards, and also we've been enlisted on technology journals and blogs like TechCrunch and Wall Street Journal and so on and so forth. So we work with more than 25 different Fortune brands, apart from a ton of startups and mid-sized companies. And we implement a wide range of solutions, both enterprise and consumer-facing applications. So, it might take a lot of time for me to explain the work that we do for each of them. However, what I can tell you is, we are able to bring in the value that we are able to learn from each of these industries, from their challenges at the same end, and take that to other industries and being able to, provide that value. So Xcube has its own center of excellence for various industries, for retail, for manufacturing, automobile, and so on. So we have our own center of excellence for oil and gas. And what we do here is to focus on solving majority of the challenges faced within this industry, especially when it comes to engaging with our clients. We try to understand the industry challenges. We do the required research, and then we also conduct workshops in terms of working closely with those departments, with those teams, who the end user is going to be, and then be able to understand the overall challenge, and then define a scope, and also be able to do prototypes. Post which we may also get into development engagements, for the long term. So we not only engage, we partner. At the same time, we also provide long-term support. So, we've worked with more than 5 different oil and gas companies so far, some of the largest in the world. And, we've developed more than 14 different enterprise solutions, again, for, various clients. At the same time, we've helped more than 12 different companies in terms of helping them with their, mobility roadmap. So we are now, going into the phase of this webinar where we are going to talk about the major technology trends in the oil and gas industry. So in a recent report by the oil and gas, the monitor, and we've seen that from a big data standpoint, there was more than 9.7 billion in terms of spending on big data in 2013, and it's expected to rise by over 57%, to 16.9 billion by 2015. And again, the challenge here is that most of the CEOs surveyed, or more than 36% of them, said they had no big data strategy in place, and again, that's going to be the major focus for over the next 12 months. From a mobility standpoint, we have more than 55% of the CIOs who believe that mobile technology would greatly enhance operations, but only 16% of them have actually implemented a mobile strategy so far. So, according to survey reports, it's expected that more than $8 billion will be spent by 2015. So, one of the major concerns right now in the oil and gas industry is cybersecurity and threats around cybersecurity. And 75% of the CIOs consider cyber attacks to be a major threat to the industry, and more than 25% of them have actually been subjected or undergone a cyber attack, at least in the last 12 months. So that's one of the major focus areas for CIOs, and also a lot of investments are going in that direction. So the top priorities for CIOs have majorly been, again, around cybersecurity. One of the reasons for that is, a lot of the end users, or say either managers on the field or employees and so on, are actually trying to bring in their own consumer-grade devices or their own mobile devices to be able to use enterprise applications, and these are obviously prone to cyber attacks or hacking and things like that. Which can cost a lot of security and a breach of security. And the next biggest priority for CIOs is obviously mobile technology and implementing mobile technology. So what this is leading to is companies are now recognizing the need for mobile apps, and we are seeing a lot of or increasing the number of rugged devices coming into the market, so that these can be used on the field in very harsh environments. More and more organizations are actually accelerating mobile adoption, in the sense they are coming up with various initiatives and also even creating internal departments specifically dedicated to mobile, for creating mobile apps. And the demand is shifting again from basic standalone applications to more integrated applications, so that these apps can actually integrate with the existing or new IT systems and or enterprise systems, and be able to synchronize data and information. And the increased usage of consumer-grade devices, as I just told you, again among managers and engineers on the field, is increasing, and obviously that's an area that also has to be addressed to be able to bring in mobile device management and BYOE solutions. So again, when it comes to mobile, the major focus here is data, being able to analyze and also being able to assimilate and create a standard or synchronized flow of information that can also help to do real-time analysis and also close the decision-making loop. So overall, those are the major trends, and again, we are now looking at the challenges. So what I'm going to do is to kind of cover the various challenges in the industry and where that's leading to. So when it comes to geographic challenges, we've seen that there are a lot of challenges when it comes to finding new oil resources, constantly checking on doing geological surveys and so on to find new resources. And again, these are done in some very volatile and hostile environments, like the pressure regions of Russia or the Gulf of Mexico and the undeveloped Middle Eastern deserts. And again, this is compared to the other challenges, this is very minor. And majority of the threat or majority of the challenges that we see are mostly from geopolitical sources, where due to that are causing price fluctuations and and so on. And again, we are seeing a lot of depleting resources that are also driving organizations to reduce costs, to be able to look for new areas to be able to get the required resources. At the same time, there's a decline in the number of skilled workers compared to the last few years. So more and more organizations, more and more oil and gas companies are actually depending on contractors to be able to perform various functions. And shareholders are also pressurizing, companies, and so that's one of the challenges. And in terms of assimilating complex data, we have so much data that is being passed on from the field or from various departments, and that data has to be again assimilated to be able to take accurate decisions, to be able to provide the required reporting, and and also to be able to create future roadmaps, and that's one of the major challenges right now. So converging all of these different challenges and trying to look at an opportunity, we're looking at more of an intelligent oil field, an oil field that where organizations will have increased technology implementations, are able to manage some of these risks, be able to make mobile applications a priority, reduce their operational costs, and improve productivity at the same time. Provide real-time reporting. And again, the risks, as I mentioned earlier, are again more or less repeated here. But we also see climate change concerns. We are looking at, from compliance standpoint, we're also looking at uncertain energy policies and so on. So most of these risks are again causing the CIOs to be kind of taking a back step in terms of looking at areas that needs to be addressed first, and not being able to take quick decisions because some of these policies can change. There could be a lot of human capital deficit. There could be various risks that are threats and security risks that come up. So most of the times technology kind of takes a backseat in trying to address the challenges that are right in front of them. So most of the technology challenges that we see on a daily basis, especially when it comes to mobile, is that most of the users, either on the field or within the corporate environments, is that they're actually using traditional methods of working. So most of them, have been old school and using paper-based methods to not only perform their tasks on a daily basis, but also kind of even use regular boards to schedule their dispatches, to trouble tickets and things like that. And also from a privacy and security threats and risk standpoint, again, that has become a major concern. When it comes to IT departments, when the support costs increase and and so on, the IT department usually locks down and tries to force the corporate, the applications that are created by the corporate onto employees. That can possibly also reduce the productivity of these employees. So that's one major challenge that needs to be overcome. And the remote location. So most of the workers on the field are actually working in very remote locations, either in the middle of the sea or in the middle of a desert, where you don't really have a network connectivity or any accessibility for Wi-Fi or carriers. And the requirement is that these users need to be able to not only save information or data, but also be able to quickly, make certain decisions. So again, that has become a challenge. Most of the times they've been using, again, paper-based techniques or forms to fill out data. So that's one of the challenges. And again, the business model for managed services is not really well established because you have the network services providers, you have the infrastructure services providers, and there needs to be kind of a clear demarcation between who is providing what. And also there's a challenge in terms of integration with new and existing IT systems. So when it comes to integrating with a new ERP system, there are challenges around not being able to expose data from the ERP system. So there needs to be more like a middleware that needs to be created to interact with those ERPs. And there are a lot of organizations that are still using legacy systems that are not upgraded, and those systems, again, the latest apps or applications need to interact with those legacy systems to get the required data. So that's one of the major challenges that we see. And again, for most of these challenges, we look at the answer to be mobile apps, because mobile apps kind of create this environment or create the flexibility to be able to interact with any type of a system. They don't really have too much dependencies. They can work as a standalone application, or they can also work through a middleware to be able to synchronize data and information. So in a recent survey by Accenture, they've done a recent survey and seen what are the enterprise mobility priorities in the energy sector. And one of the major priorities, again, has been around mobile device management and security management. So majority of the investments are going in that direction. And so that, for mobile device management, again, most of the enterprise users will be able to still use enterprise applications and accessibility to applications through MDM, so that that kind of restricts the environment, at the same time does not allow any security breaches. So on the other hand, we also have applications that are taking a front seat in terms of sales enablement, in terms of shipment, in terms of inventory management, asset management, material management, and so on. So most of us know, again, that mobile is obviously helping users to be able to more or less disrupt the whole technology space in terms of increasing productivity and performance. But where and how, or I'd say, in what ways is mobile able to help this specific industry, and in what ways? So mobile is helping to connect with enterprise systems, to be able to collaborate, to be able to improve overall efficiency. And again, this is happening anytime and anywhere for the user. And again, this is applied or applicable to almost all the different departments. We're looking at core operations. It could be daily drilling orders or executing the daily drilling orders. Users can conduct refinery and operator rounds, and they can do a complete checklist to be able to maintain pipelines. They'll have a standard operating procedure, so they can have a checklist and be able to perform all the tasks. They can have operator logs, explore for deposits, and from a collaboration standpoint, we're looking at maintenance and repair and operations inventory, and users being able to manage that, managing assignments, managing time and billing submissions, and also being able to analyze performance. So from a commercial operations standpoint, we're looking at mostly sales enablement, being able to sell fuel to distributors, being able to service vehicles, being able to deliver fuel. From a customer engagement standpoint, which is again one of the core focus areas for a lot of oil and gas companies now, is to locate stations, make payments, maybe able to manage orders, coordinate shipping, and also being able to manage the issues and the overall ticketing or incident management. So here are a few solutions that are described a little more in detail. So we're looking at field service automation, which is more of an upstream process. So most of the field engineers or field force have been actually using paper-based forms, and most of this data is being lost, again, based on our discussions with a lot of the oil and gas companies. And again, a lot of contractors are being used on the field. So accountability and being able to get the overall performance of the field worker is not available. So these apps or the field automation applications would allow these users to be able to fill in the tasks. If any tasks are pending, it will still show the manager that someone is some task is pending by a particular person, so that they'll be more accountable. At the same time, we provide offline storage within the app, so that even if there is no network connectivity, the data is still stored within the app, and whenever an established or a network connection is established, the information can be more or less synced to the backend system, and reports can be generated. So again, all these reports and can be converted to executive dashboards that can be reviewed by higher level managers, and there's obviously no need for paper-based forms. So from an asset management standpoint, again, it's a broad area. We are looking at work order management. We're looking at maintenance management, being able to maintain equipment and so on. We're looking at inventory management, looking at stock levels, threshold levels of stocks, and then obviously the engineering data management. So all these are again broad areas that can be integrated again with backend ERP systems, and then being able to sync information in real time. So some of the benefits of this is to kind of have or enable rapid response rates, so that we can quickly take decisions on unforeseen risks and take mostly preventive, timely maintenance for the equipment or the overall oil field. And we're looking at accelerating or scheduling and completion of work on time, monitoring technicians so that their access to tools is easy and they're able to finish tasks on time. So we also have materials management, just like asset management, and again, this is an upstream oil field services and a downstream process. So here we have procurement, we have reordering, we have stock transfer orders, we have collection, quality assurance, quality control inspections, and stocking. So again, all of these again have their own subdivisions. So all of these again help to collect data and synchronize data, and again are able to connect with backend ERP or backend enterprise asset management systems in real time and sync information, so that managers and or supervisors will be able to quickly take the required decisions. So from an inspection standpoint, again, we're looking at auditing or inspections and quality assurance. So here, users would, or field or managers would be able to inspect pipelines. You're looking at environmental assessments or threats, refinery equipment inspection, and seeing if the equipment is good to use, and how far or what is the level of maintenance required. We can do the data capture using barcoding or RFID or even global positioning systems or GPS, and even cameras. So cameras again to be used to be able to take the equipment images and being able to send them to the back office in real time. Barcoding and RFID to recognize particular equipment and get a complete history of that equipment, and data entry to be able to quickly use clickable image control, which means users would be able to quickly enter data by capturing an image and provide the required data regarding that equipment. From a benefits standpoint, we're looking at obviously achieving significant cost savings, improved operations, allowing technicians to collect large volumes of data, which they possibly would not have been able to do by using a paper-based form or possibly any other means. And taking up necessary corrective actions in real time, speeding up inspection process, and uniformity of inspections data. So we have regulatory compliance, which is again an upstream and a downstream process where users have to comply with certain policies and procedures, and ensuring that these users, on the field or in various locations within the upstream or the downstream processes are complying to those policies is obviously by providing apps that can track the user's performance and provide the compliance reporting to the management. And then we can also categorize that by geography, by business unit, or even a business function, and then see, or the managers would be able to see how, what are the compliance rates and percentage of compliance. So that would help to simplify the overall compliance process. It also helps enable accurate monitoring and streamline reporting on regulatory and safety issues. Helps real-time access to reliable, accurate information and rapid responses to the compliance and the possible security threats. So apart from the other aspects that we've seen, sales enablement is actually picking up, I would say, rapidly, because a lot of the oil and gas companies that are again into exploration, production, at the same time equipment manufacturing, are looking at developing apps for their salespeople to be able to not only look at marketing collaterals much faster, but also be able to talk to their customers and show the related information, the required data sheets, and then making the purchase process easier by being able to generate quote requests or process purchase orders directly from the app. And then the app will sync with the Salesforce automation or sales enablement system on the back end, or the company CRM system. So that will help improve the overall user adoption rates and the end user buy-in. It also helps increase sales, and obviously at the end of the day you have happy salespeople because they're able to get their work done much faster. On the other hand, we have fuel management. Again, this falls into both the upstream, the oilfield services, and the downstream process, where managers would be able to track fuel consumption. They can look at demand forecasting, fuel order forms, consumption tracking. They can look at remote monitoring, delivery management, alerts, reports, and obviously also the key performance indicators for the fuel management. So that again helps to increase visibility into various metrics for fuel management, for the higher level management, and the mid managers as well. What we have been doing in the recent past is that not just working on enterprise mobile applications, but also helping new recruits as well as potential hires for the oil and gas industry, where most of these oil and gas companies are participating in events or hiring events to be able to recruit new people. And one of the challenges is that most of the new recruits or find it hard to kind of understand how the overall industry works. And one of the way by which the users will be able to learn about the industry is through learning through a game that can help them to quickly interact with the various processes involved or the functions within the organization. So they'll be the corporate, and it can be the oil extraction or supply or refinery, or even the downstream where the end supply happens. So users are actually able to select roles. They can select the departments. They can look at if there has been an oil leak or if there has been a pipeline damage, and so on, and then be able to quickly take the corrective measure if the climate or the weather changes. What are the implications, things like that. So the game kind of provides a full real-time, or more or less a full simulation of the actual process within the oil and gas industry, and that kind of helps them to quickly learn and get on board much faster. In the recent past, we've seen that Google Glass as well as mobile devices are majorly being used in terms of on the field, not only in healthcare but also in applications or fields like oil and gas, where users are possibly using both their hands and working on something, and then obviously they also need to capture certain data. So they can not only use Google Glass for augmented reality, in the sense if they're working on maintenance of a particular engine, they would like to look at a complete breakup of the engine or look at how a particular part is fixed, we can have 3D animation that can be overlaid onto the image, and then be able to show how how a particular part goes into the engine, or what is its function. And on the other hand, the users can also look at their tasks. They can look at they can also take pictures of equipment in case it requires maintenance, or if there's been a major risk on the field. So all the data can be captured real time, and then be able to, obviously, users can sync that with the backend. So we've covered more or less, some of the solutions for the oil and gas industry, and there are a lot more that we can talk about. But in the interest of time, we've skipped that. So what we are looking at is organizations trying to move towards an enterprise mobile strategy, and that's one of the major reasons why we have this webinar, is to talk about how, or what are the steps that need to be taken when a mobile or oil and gas company tries to go mobile. And mostly these organizations are actually coming up with dedicated teams, hiring new people that have experience in mobility to be able to enterprise or to be able to implement a particular strategy. So we've identified a few steps as to how mobile or an organization would be able to implement an enterprise mobile strategy. The first step being to create or envision the mobile enterprise, where the organizations can clearly articulate the vision to be, or to be state in which the enterprise is transformed by mobile solutions, and and more or less provide anytime, anywhere capabilities to be able to perform the corporate function seamlessly. And then again, this vision can act as a guide to more or less help or inform decision making into the future. So the next step obviously would be to align to the business strategy. So organizations have a certain business imperative or a business vision, and then these organizations need to kind of target solutions that will provide the greatest value across the various departments, and also need to focus on the end user. So who's that end user going to be, whether it's a well-site geologist or a petroleum engineer or a salesperson or a sales or a driller, and then facilitate the development of mobile apps for those specific business requirements. And the next step after that would be to kind of assess the mobile landscape, and to be able to see what is the state of the mobile platforms, what are the applications, what are the products, devices, and then kind of being able to determine what is suitable for them to use. Are they using these applications on the field, or are they using these applications within the corporate? So based on that, they can choose what type of devices to implement, what platforms to implement on, and then make the right decision. And the next step would be to manage the security risk, which is again the top priority for most of the oil and gas companies. And then so what businesses need to do is to understand or be able to assess the unique risk environment and the risk tolerance. So it is possible to be able to design and implement mobile applications that can more accurately or effectively be able to balance the security and the business interests of the organization. And then integrate infrastructures and data, so that this kind of requires a holistic view of the business needs a holistic view of its enterprise infrastructure, and then to be able to check on the devices, to authentication services, and also their cloud integration capability. So that also helps to kind of integrate with a wide range of back-end systems. So we've spoken about aligning to the business strategy and considering the end user, and obviously the end user is going to be key here. And then the business needs to, once the applications are integrated with the required backend systems, the front end of which the end user is going to use has to be properly designed and being able to, and also need to kind of have certain limitations in terms of what devices are approved, what the user can use and what they cannot. And then if you're implementing a bring your own device solution, what is the level of security required on those devices to be able to carry enterprise applications. And the next would be to manage the mobile apps and maintaining a portfolio of applications in the enterprise ecosystem, because most of these apps are not available on the App Store, and these apps have to be available to users through an enterprise portal, and where users would be able to download these applications on their devices and be able to use them in a secure environment. And so we are looking at defining or creating an integrated governance and management process. The organization more or less needs to support and focus over time to achieve its vision, which means the most successful strategies require the integration of technology and business functions, and kind of provide reporting, oversight, and the required influence for corporate leaders, and then drive and maximize the value of data. So for frontline staff and senior managers, they will potentially have access to a broad range of new and more granular information. And the mobile strategy obviously has to address these ways to harness the information and being able to provide or improve the decision-making process across the organization. So the success factors again around a mobile strategy is obviously to select the right device. Also look at what is the battery life of this device, what is the level of network connectivity and availability. So again, that's a carrier-dependent factor. However, the organization obviously needs to consider, what is the level, or in terms of, whether the app is going to connect to the backend using a particular network, and what is the level of offline storage that is required. And we're also looking at intuitive workflow, which means if the user is using the app, they should not be confused from one step to the next, which means the workflow needs to be organized in such a way that the content provided or information is minimalistic, at the same time drives the required value, at the same time gets the work done. And again, choosing between mobile device management and BYD solutions, so giving access to internal enterprise systems, at the same time allowing users to bring their own devices while creating a restricted environment to be able to use enterprise applications is key to success. So here are some of the takeaways, key takeaways, what we've learned or heard from today's webinar. We've spoke about Xcube and the recent trends in the industry. What are the opportunities that we see in the industry, and obviously the various challenges and the solutions that can address some of these challenges, and the steps that we need to take to be able to implement a mobile strategy. So I hope this webinar has been helpful, and we have about 15 minutes for Q&A, and after that we can we can wrap up. And obviously, we'll be also sending you a copy of this webinar and the link to the recording.